Tonight, the Hurricanes host the Golden Knights. College World Series gets underway tomorrow in Omaha, Nebraska. West Virginia takes on Troy. Then it's North Carolina against Ole Miss. Saturday, Alabama meets Oklahoma. Georgia plays Texas. Northside Power, your trusted name when the power goes out. Generators isn't something they do. It's all they do. Find out more at northsidepower.com. I'm John Thayer with your Sports Flash on 101.1 The Answer.
Hey, this is Doc Washburn. I'm excited to be back on the air in Little Rock. I'm on 4 to 6 p.m. weekdays right here on 101.1 The Answer. And you never know who will be calling in. I did not smoke cigars with that young woman, Miss Lewinsky. Not yet, Bill. The Doc Washburn Show returns to Little Rock thanks to Northside Power, Night Service Company, and the Lord who opened the door, 4 to 6 p.m. weekdays on 101.1 The Answer.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-431-2715. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-431-2715. 800-431-2715. 800-431-2715.
Welcome to the Car and Truck Doctor Show, brought to you by Bumper to Bumper and your local Bumper to Bumper certified service centers.
Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And baby, I love you. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, we're back with you. It's a Thursday. It's the day before the weekend, so it's better than Wednesday. Not quite as good on Friday as Friday is. I'm looking forward to the weekend coming up. If I seem like I disappear from the show at times, it's because that I'm turning my mic off so that you don't have to listen to me coughing. I'm going down with a chest cold. I know I am, and it drives me nuts. I hate chest colds. I don't mind one up in my head where you're all stuffed up and you're always blowing your nose to try to clear out your passages. Not chest colds.
You better take that seriously.
Oh, I do. I don't want to.
Pneumonia.
Yeah, I don't want to end up like what's his name from NASCAR.
Yeah. That happened quick too.
Well, they say that can happen that fast. The doctors talked about it and said that if you've got pneumonia, it can quickly accelerate into sepsis, and that will kill you.
Yep, that's how my dad died.
You just get sicker and sicker, and they can't stop it, and you're just along for the ride to the Neverland.
There's literally nothing they can do once you get sepsis.
Doesn't matter how healthy you are. It seems like,
or were.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I stay healthy. I very seldom get sick, and I can hear it up in my lungs. You can hear it cracking and popping when I start coughing. And when you get to hacking and it wakes you up in the middle of the night, you wake up, you finally get back to sleep, it wakes you up again, and you go back to sleep, and then you got to get up at like 4:45 anyway, and you start hacking away, and you wake up and it's like 4:40. Do I want to close my eyes for 5 minutes? And the answer for me is no. Because if I do, I'm not sure I'll wake up when the alarm goes off. So I get up and get at it. And today was one of those days. It just was. Plus, my wife saw a bill, and I don't understand why she does this, but I love my wife. Don't get me wrong. I love my wife. But, she woke me up at 2:30 this morning and says to me, "Did you see this bill?"
At 2:30 a.m.
2:30 a.m. And it's like, well, even if I had, what do you want me to do about it?
Get up, pay it.
There ain't nobody up right
I
now,
need you to
darling,
call
except you and I.
somebody.
So anyway, I said, do me a favor, just close the door as you go out and turn the light off in the hallway. You know, that's what I asked her to do,
Please turn the light
and
off.
she did. She did that.
Hey, Dave,
Yeah.
probably 20 years ago, I've been married like 22 years now. And I told my wife one night late like that, she addressed me. I stood up out of bed and I said, hey, from this point forward, no serious conversation.
Thank
after
you.
9 p.m.
If you want to ask
Yep.
me a question that is going to lead into a discussion, you don't do it when I put my head down and my eyes are closed.
No.
But plus, also, you
More.
get your adrenaline pumping if it's a hard discussion. You
Yeah,
know
well,
I
that's
mean?
what I'm
Like,
saying.
And then you can't go to sleep.
Some
Yeah.
executive decisions don't go down until
Yeah.
after 9 o'clock at night.
No.
It seems like.
It served us very well, you know. Like
That's
after
good.
9, it's like, hey, we'll just table that for tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's arguments or anything bothering you. It's like, let's not do anything heavy after 9. you
Well,
know?
it's
That's
like
a good idea.
dealing with something that's going to happen later in the week. I've got now that, and my wife doesn't like it, but I do it anyway. I quote scripture at her. I said, "Don't be worrying about that right now.
Agree quickly with
You
thine
know,
adversary.
tomorrow-
Is that the one you
Yeah, no. Tomorrow's going to have enough problems of its own without worrying that it's going to be a problem.
That's right.
I just anyway. I've been married. This year will be our 35th wedding anniversary on August 10th. So I'm looking forward to celebrating with her. I'll take her. Normally, she wants to go up to Branson and go to a nice restaurant and take in one of the shows, and we'll probably do that because I get done before noon here, and I can leave from here and pick her up, and 2.5 hours later we can be in Branson. That leaves you the whole night, man.
Jets don't get done before noon, do they?
No, sir.
Yeah,
Never
when
been done before noon.
you close at like 5, right?
5:30.
5:30.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but the close sign might be up, and you're still working on somebody's car.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to do what it takes to get the job done, and most importantly, try to keep yourself on track if that's totally possible whatsoever. But yeah, between both of those, I mean, it's kind of like having those conversations at 9 o'clock at night. If you got a small business, I mean, unfortunately, those things got to be dealt with.
You got to,
I
you got
mean,
to take care
it
of them.
seems like you live that life somewhat at home a little bit. You're not supposed to, but it definitely bleeds over.
Do you have problem when people come in with their cars and the idiot light's been on for like 6 months and they've never brought it in for you to look at it, and then all of a sudden now they got major problems. You're missing and problems, and you tell them I can get to you next week, and they go, "What do you mean next week?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we see a lot of, people delaying or just kind of being, it's not important until it actually starts breaking down. They just don't do their maintenance. And then all of a sudden their emergency is supposed to translate to my emergency,
Yep.
which is,
The
it's not,
urgency is our emergency.
But
Yeah.
everybody got their car over at your shop.
everybody's
It's
got
an emergency.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just tell them, I'm like, look, I mean, I've got 30 people in front of you. I will get to it as soon as possible. I promise you I want to. But, whenever it's 95 degrees and humidity through the roof, I mean, your guys just aren't as efficient whenever it's 60, I mean, that's just the reality.
They're moving
That's the
slower.
reality.
Yeah.
Absolutely moving slower when
More,
it's like
more
that.
water breaks, all that stuff has to go in.
Especially for the pregnant ones.
Well, we have a few ladies with us, but none of them are pregnant.
Yeah, I got you. And that's
I
it's
Some of them
good.
I
got, some of them
understand
got
where you were
tendencies. Yeah.
So anyway, the guys from BJ's are here today. BJ's sitting right next to me. Good to have him in the studio. And it's been a few weeks since you've been on, sir.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. What have you been up to?
I just
Work.
work. Man, I work, I preach, I do a lot of stuff with kids camps and stuff, and yeah, just busy,
Are you guys coming Sunday night to Agape for the night to honor Israel?
No,
6:30 Sunday night.
Okay.
Come on over.
Yeah.
And, because as Christians, we're supposed to, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. We're supposed to be, standing behind Israel. So we'll give you an opportunity to be able to do it with no big deal. And I guess what goes for you too. If you're listening right now, you're invited. Come over to Agape Church this Sunday, 6:30, and we'll get it underway. I'm going to get there a lot earlier than 6:30 because I want to sit up front. I don't want to be back in the back of 3,000 people.
Yeah.
I want to be up front. So their special speaker is going to be the man who was the commander of the Israeli Defense Forces that went in and got the hostages in Entebbe Airport.
Okay.
So if you know anything about that, if you want to meet the man, you want to hear what he has to say, he'll be here to do that. He'll be on my show. I think he's coming in today at 7 or tomorrow at 7 with Enrico and Justin, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll get to talk to him up close and personal. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Enrico because he's had surgery on his eye, so he'll be wearing the eye patch, and so I'm gonna call him Moshe Dayan tomorrow when I see him. He was one of my heroes when I was a kid. Yeah. There you go.
Get it out, Dave.
Let it all out.
Excuse me. Anyway, strangle. Anyway.
And that's our commercial for get your elderberry juice and drink it so you don't get sick.
There you go.
And
That's a Surgeon General's warning.
elderberry juice as good as elderberry wine?
I mean, I would think that the juice is better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never had elderberry wine. I like the Sambuco though.
You
Sambuco's
missed
the bomb.
You
Is it
missed
good?
Should have seen that face.
You
Better get
missed
there some
it.
stat.
Y'all need to look at the live stream on that one.
That's
Go
good,
back
man.
and replay.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Elderberry wine's good. I mean, even Elton John sang about elderberry wine. All right, so
True.
it's good. It's good for you. And wine's not bad for you. Take a little bit for a bad stomach. That's what Paul told Timothy. Take some for a bad stomach. And so
It's just basically good for everything. Keeps your immune system up. That's why people got COVID so much because their immune systems, it ravages your immune system.
well, the
I
people
thought she was saying they got COVID because they didn't drink wine.
Wine,
yeah,
wine.
That's the
Well,
link.
they were drinking
Yeah.
a lot of wine too,
That I
though.
All right. So what are the things that you guys are having people come in and talk to you about? People are getting ready to go on vacation, I'm sure, and you give them a once over and make sure they're ready to hit the road.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's the trip checks are, what we call them are definitely, we've got a bunch of them lined up to do. It's kind of like the time of the season, where all the kids are coming back from school and colleges and whatnot. And, whether that gets any love or attention on the road or during the school year, but got a lot of those going on, got a lot of family trips going on. So just trying to get everybody in, make sure everybody's going to be safe to go. And of course you got all the heat related issues right now, seeing a lot of coolant, a lot of cooling, engine radiator, sort of being stressed to the max, whatnot. And always air conditioners,
Yeah,
doing their deal right now.
AC that hasn't worked since January, but all of a
Yeah.
sudden, boom,
Yeah, it's 90 degrees today. I need you to fix it today.
right now.
Yeah,
Right.
immediately.
Yeah, I know it's hot. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel you. Trust me, I'm sweating when I'm on the phone with you. I promise. man.
And this is one thing I'll tell you. As a consumer, you get a lot more if you're polite and kind than you do if you're harsh.
That's the way it always works.
And that's everywhere. But I specifically had, because we're busy, and so I can't just stop and work on your vehicle. I had a vehicle with a lady come up, and she had 3 children in the back, and her car was hot. It was black, black car, black
Mhm.
everything, and it was hot.
Yeah, black interior.
Yeah, black interior.
That's the way I like them, to be honest.
Black on black.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, and I saw they were hot. It's not that I don't love you and I don't want you to be cool, but practicality is I can't just, prioritize.
As they would say over in England, get in the queue.
Yeah.
It's just not fair to your customers that have been waiting for a week, to just slide something right in front of them, when they've been, on the board patiently waiting and whatnot, and everything's situational, but
And you try to do what you can.
absolutely.
but
We're all here to help as much as we can when we can, but we're, even if that's saying, we need to try to direct you somewhere else,
Right.
that's part of the helping part of it,
That's right.
being the connector.
All right, BJ and Carter are here. We'll be speaking to them through the rest of this hour, but we got to take a break, pay some bills, and then we'll be back on the Dave Elswick Show.
If things don't change, can you imagine America in 20 years? Scary thought, isn't it? The good news is we have the power to take our nation back. Stay right here for all the information you need. 101.1, The Answer. The Danielle Gill Podcast, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
Throughout Trump's first administration, the Democrats cried endlessly about foreign collusion and the usurpation of democracy through government abuse and corruption. All the while, they were doing just that. They were colluding with foreign governments, usurp democracy through government abuse, corruption, all of the things.
Subscribe for free today to the Danielle Gill Podcast on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. This is 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Start your morning with a voice you know and trust. Dave Elswick, bringing you the issues that matter to Arkansas, the news behind the headlines, and conversations you won't hear anywhere else. Then in the afternoon, stay informed and fired up with Doc Washburn, breaking down the biggest stories of the day and what they mean for you. And all day long, hear from some of the biggest voices in talk radio. CNN's Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, and Larry Elder, bringing you sharp insight, lively debate, and the perspective you've been looking for. News, opinion, insight, and the conversations shaping our community. From Little Rock to the Natural State and beyond. This is 101.1, The Answer. 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Larry O'Connor sees another example of a power grab.
He's a pig. He's a scum. He's disgusting. He's a liar. But he's better than Susan Collins. Let that be a lesson, Republicans. Let that be a lesson. They will set aside all of their morals, all of their so-called ethics and principles for the quest of power for their party.
O'Connor and Company, weekday mornings at 6, right before Dave Elswick at 7 on 101.1. The Answer. There's a real battle going on, not only for our future, but that of our children and grandchildren. How do we ensure they have it better than we do? One way is to keep listening to us. We're your information source in the battle. 101.1, The Answer. The Car and Truck Doctor Show is back. Sponsored by Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts and these dealers. Joe's Garage in North Little Rock, Mid-State Transmission and Auto Repair in Benton, and Pinnacle Automotive in Little Rock. Now, here's Dave Elswick on 101.1, The Answer.
If you run into a problem with your car, just Google, your car and truck doctors on Google. Be looking where one's close to you. It doesn't matter which one you choose. If they're a certified service center, it means that they live by the same rules as everybody else. They all follow the same rules. And here's what I'll tell you. When you take your car there, they will fix it. They won't just work on it. They'll fix it.
That's right.
So keep that in mind. And there's a big difference between working on and fixing it. I've had my run-ins with mechanics that didn't fix something, give it back to you. And one was a big national chain, has boys in its name. And I wasn't a big fan of theirs. I've never gone back. All it takes for me is somebody to give me really bad service one time. That's all you got to do. I'll just say, okay, that's the best you can do? Well, yes, sir. And I said, okay, thanks a lot. Then I take it to whoever can fix it. And I never look back at the person who said, we don't know what's really wrong with it. We'll just fix a couple of things on it,
Yeah.
as far as that goes. All right. So a lot of people are getting ready to go on vacation. We're into June now. June vacation goes until, about the third week of August now. And so people are wanting to go places. Are people coming in and saying, service my car, check my fluid level and check my brakes and all of that? Is that typically what people are doing this time of year?
Yeah, I mean, we see a lot more of the uptick of travel plans and stuff, but a lot of what we're seeing more than even the travel stuff is, with the economy being the way it is, not very many people are thinking, "Hey, let me run out and buy a new car."
Not after you run to the dealership and look at the price tag.
Yeah, so I mean, because now the all the tariff charges and stuff are stacked on those cars, and so we're starting to see a lot more, larger jobs that you would probably think about trading your vehicle in. They're starting to get approved. People are taking out loans at the bank to get these things done, some of the stuff that's necessary. And so not just small jobs like, like your tires, brakes, making sure your air and cooling system is good for a trip, but also preparing for the longevity of a vehicle, like college students coming back from college, and you've got a couple of months here that we've got to get that car back in order so they can be safe, sometimes states away, while, to get that taken care of.
Yeah. If you got to drive down to Texas or Louisiana or whatever to go to school, that's a pretty long haul.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that your car runs right, and you don't have to worry. If I knew that one of my kids was in a car that I should have fixed and I hadn't, I would not have a good time, thinking about that.
Well, especially, nowadays with, the fear of abduction and all the child trafficking. And I mean, that's not just children, that's young adults.
Yep.
It translates into all kinds of other stuff. So, I would highly recommend, I state this all the time, that find you a good, reputable technician, certified auto center. We have a group of guys. We don't just want to work on your car and make the money. I legitimately care. I believe this group of people legitimately care about, your kid going to Cincinnati to school. You want to put them in a car that's dependable and you feel good about. And we also have to sometimes tell the bad news of hey, you need to get rid of this car, I mean, and sometimes that's the truth that nobody wants to say, it's how do you say that? But I would rather hear that as a father today than, find out, 4 months from now, 1,000 miles away from my daughter or son.
Yeah. She's on the side of the road and is in an area that you don't have a lot of phone service.
Yeah. Tow drivers coming to pick her up or take her wherever, and she's got to depend on complete strangers to for safety. So and even us, we're not infallible. I mean, there's stuff that we could not see, but we do have nationwide support. We do have a support system that if something happens, that you're covered even if you're not home anymore, and I think that kind of stuff is extremely important.
Yeah, they'll take care if one of their parts breaks down, folks, from Bumper to Bumper. 24,000 miles or 2-year warranty on the parts and labor, and 36,000 miles and 3 years warranty if you use a Bumper to Bumper card. So keep that in mind. I've had a couple of times I had a spark plug that was giving us all kinds of problems, and we put back in the one that the the people said should go in to my engine, and it was arcing and shorting out, and I had a an area that was misfiring on my car. We finally found it, but to Bumper's credit, 4 times they had that replaced, and at no cost to me.
Mm-hmm.
So they do stand behind their work.
Hey, Dave, and one more thing. Speaking of college and bumper to bumper, if you're going to college anywhere in the southeastern United States, at least there's bumper to bumper certified service centers scattered all through there, all the way down to Florida.
All right,
so you got that too.
Keep that in mind. We're going to take a break. Bill O'Reilly's up next here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Let me run you over there.
They have helped more than 40,000 owners exit legally and ethically through a simple guaranteed process. No surprise fees, no unused vacations, no stress. Please visit LoneStarTransfer.com, or you can call 855-551-7066. Tell them Bill sent you today. On this Thursday, the Justice Department has launched an investigation into California's chaotic voting procedures, and Democrats are not happy about it. In fact, Sacramento will not comply with the U.S. Attorney's request for information. The Constitution gives each state the power to regulate voting. However, the feds have oversight to make sure states do not allow cheating. The progressive left and its media enablers are screaming that charges of fraud in California are, quote, baseless. But how would they know? There hasn't been an investigation. A phony assessment of California's voting standards is baseless. Reality is another matter. Now, I have no evidence there was fraud in the Golden State. Here's what I do know. You can register to vote on Election Day itself in California with little or no documentation that you are a resident or even a citizen of the country. Anyone can collect mail-in votes and take them to county offices in sacks or packages. Undocumented folks can get California driver's licenses they then use to register to vote. The deadline to have your vote counted in California, a week after Election Day. Back in a moment. Homeowners, when is the last time you checked your home title? Scammers are everywhere, and they're targeting your equity. With just a single forged document, they can file at the county. So don't wait until it's too late. Find out if you are already a victim today. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use the promo code BILL to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update.
The Car and Truck Doctor Show is back. Sponsored by Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts and these dealers. Dewdrop Auto Repair in Pine Bluff, Duck's Garage in Benton, and Jets Gas and Service in Little Rock. Now, here's Dave Elswick on 101.1, The Answer.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, back here on the Dave Elswick Show. The Car and Truck Doctors are here. BJ's here from Jets. Carter's here from Carter's. And so what's the phone number, BJ, for Jets?
Got a 501-664-4485.
All right. And you should call if you need to have what we would call, a big job done. You should call to find out how long it's going to take before they can get to you. And Carter, how about you? What's the phone number over there? And then both of you can tell me how long the wait time is to get to a bigger job.
501-374-6089. Our schedule, smaller jobs, we can get you scheduled in the next couple of days. Bigger jobs, we're probably a couple of weeks out, something like that.
So if you're going to need new timing chains, know that you're a couple of weeks behind.
Yeah.
And it may depend on what kind of car you got.
Yeah, it definitely.
How
depends
long
on
that
it.
check engine light's been on?
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
messing with you.
you know, you're talking about a timing chain. Some of them, a belt or something, you know, you could get 2 or 3 hours in some cases. And then, you know, we talk about a chain
Mhm.
in some cases. I mean, you're talking about removing the motor. I mean, that's a
Mhm.
20-hour job. So a lot of times shops on those bigger jobs, you know, they're like, they don't do them. So I get a lot of referrals
Mhm.
for the big jobs because we do them. But as I tell people in the summertime, whenever I'm ramped up, I can't dedicate all my technicians to huge jobs. I still got to take care of my, you know, my in and out customers, my AC checks, you know, refills. I mean, we want to get those
Oil
turned out.
services, all that.
Yeah, we want to get that stuff turned out pretty quick.
Yeah. So I know I can go over to Joe's and I'll usually call Stephanie, 3-4 days out. I said, can you get me in this week to do an oil change? And typically she can.
Yeah.
And then I leave the studio after I get off the air and I head right over there and turn it over to them. Because I know you're going to wait for at least an hour if you show up 20 minutes before noon. You're going to be waiting for a while.
I wonder why, Dave.
Because those people like to eat just like I do.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that, we like to be able, it's like I hear people say, why aren't the banks open when their schedules are open? Because they don't want to spend the other time working any more than you do.
We had a guy from out of state come in the other day. This is a funny story. And it was a 5-hour radiator job. And, it was like noon. So we're already like really pushing it to even be able to get this done today. And of course, he's like, well, I'll just sleep in my car.
Oh, geez.
And I thought, well, you can't sleep in your car because your car's in my shop.
Right.
I mean, that's not going to work.
Right.
So, we had to stay just a little bit late to get it finished up. But, it really put us in a position of, like, if this thing don't turn out right, because I mean, I've done them before. You put it together, and then the radiator that you just put on is leaking because it's defective.
Because it's made out of plastic.
It come from a foreign country.
Yeah, right.
QC is not very good, and well, really anywhere anymore it seems like. But you sometimes things don't go perfect. Like our schedules, we load them up and say it's a 5-hour job, but it's a very real possibility from time to time where you do a 5-hour job and you get to find out, guess what? You got to do a 5-hour job again, and it's maybe not a technician error, but it could be, a part situation or even a fitment error.
Yeah. Or maybe a piece of hardware or a fastener broke off and you got to perform extraction or whatever the case may be. Those book times we go by and quote, those are just in a perfect world scenario. If it comes out and goes back in and everything's great, and we hold by our times that we quote, most all the time, and unless it's just exceptionally.
Yeah, that's not
up.
counting on is a screw frozen in place, and you got to figure out how you're going to back it out and get another screw in its place.
Well, and a lot of this stuff is plastic anymore.
Yeah.
So we have had examples where you take one plastic piece apart, you're dealing with that area, and then other stuff just starts disintegrating, and you're like, oh my goodness.
Or you want to talk about that? Like if you're doing oil change, you're under the gun, you start rotating the tires and like the wheel lugs start stripping off.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh my gosh, you're just thinking 15, 20, 30 minutes, like in your head, like
the next customer is going to be behind, the next one behind him.
Exactly.
And, then you start telling them when they come in, hey, we're already booked up 45 minutes before we can ever even start.
And then my mouth's full when I'm answering the phone eating lunch.
Right, yeah.
Because we don't get that.
Or don't eat lunch.
Or don't eat lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, just know that if you get an engine light and it comes on, it came on for a reason. And your car is telling you that something needs to be checked. Now, if it comes on and it blinks, it means get it fixed right now.
Yeah, you got your misfire.
Generally active problem. Right then and there.
I told, like I said earlier, I've been married for quite some time, but when me and my wife first met, I'm a car guy. She's not, don't know anything about cars. And I walked her out one day and I said, hey, one thing you need to learn about cars is they talk to you, rather that bushing, squeaking, the brakes are squealing, they make different noises. You get accustomed to, an operation, you feel something different. It's speaking, it's language, you need to learn how to, I'm not asking you to fix it, but I want you as my future wife to say, hey, Daniel, can we get this taken care of? And it may seem like a small thing, but a lot of times that information for us technicians translates into information about, oh yeah, we can fix this right now for a couple of $100. Whereas if we'd have just kept going until it said, hey, I'm tired, that's $2,000, and I've seen it happen. It's really sad because, things that could be prevented end up costing people that generally may not have the funds available even more money just due to fear of spending any money.
Well, look, people do the same things. When I get up out of my comfortable recliner, I typically go, because there's a little bit of hesitancy on my body. I'd rather you stay here. But you groan a little bit and you let out some extra air or whatever to get yourself going.
It's like Daniel's saying, don't ignore a check engine light. If you come through, and you say like you've got something as minor as a loose, like we call gas cap code, that's nothing major. Generally, you can just tighten it up, whatever. Say you got some real air leaking through there, and you say, like, oh, well, it don't bother the way my car runs. I'm just going to keep driving.
Right.
Well, 6 months later, there's another data trouble code pops up, but you don't know about it. Your light's already on, so you just keep bebopping down the road, and then you start ending up with,
instead of one thing being wrong, there's several
stretching, or you got blow by, or you got an injector failing, and it's causing a lot more problems down the road. So you really you need to address it. You need to use all your senses. You got to use your eyesight. You've got to use your nose. You got to smell these things. You've got to feel them. It takes everything, even on a consumer level. If you smell something abnormal, there's something wrong. Even it might be a plastic trash bag up on your exhaust manifold or something.
Right.
Something's not right. Get it addressed, get it looked at, get it checked out.
Yeah. And if they find it and it's something where they got to pull the dash out, well, ask your technician, hey, while you're in there, can you check all the, the flow doors and things of that nature, so that you can replace ones that may need to be replaced right now, instead of putting it all back together and then a month down the road you got to have that door taken care of.
Yeah, we like BJ was saying about the check engine light stacking and stacking and stacking. We get from time to time vehicles that come in, and when we scan a code, we may have 30 codes, and the technician just goes, I've heard them in my shop. Oh my God,
Yeah.
like where do I even begin? You know what I mean? And then, once you finally do figure out the problem, it may eliminate 6 or 8 of the codes, and then you clear the code and the lights off right now, and first thing that we're going to notate on a ticket is these codes that are not currently on, the next time they run their process, they're going to generally come back, and whether it's something that, oh yeah, I know it's been on for like 5 years. That stuff just makes it very hard for us as technicians to deliver a car that we're fully 100% confident in, and that's just being honest. We would prefer to see a car when we do an inspection at the end, it gets all green lights and goes, like I can tell you at that point, yeah, you can go to California.
Right.
But whenever we have remaining issues, I get customers also that ask me, do you think I can go to California?
I ask Joe that all the
And
time.
I'm like, I don't.
Your engine can't even compensate for air fuel ratio imbalances at that point. Sometimes when the check engine light's on. So, you think I'm going to tell you can go to California?
I'm not.
Absolutely not.
No. Now, generally, I tell people, like, look, just maintain your car continually. And then when we get ready to go out of town, we're not doing some major work and then immediately driving 2,000 miles after major work. That's honestly a scary proposition. I wouldn't do that in my own family, and I'm the technician.
Yeah, 2 years ago, I went to Florida, and I rented a car because Joe said, Dave, I wouldn't take that 2010 SUV out on the road and expect it to go 900 miles down to Florida, 900 miles back to your house. Says, you got to think that maybe something might go wrong.
Something might.
There's a high possibility.
You know.
High probability.
So I listen to what my technicians tell me, and that's why you should pick a service area that you go to all the time, and maybe you've had a mechanic that you've been able to strike up a good relationship with. You can ask for that person, and they can look and see what jobs they have and when they might have an opening to do the job that you need.
That's right.
And they'll know more about your car than anybody else that's just starting from zero. And it's just like a doctor. When you go see the doctor, do you go see any old doctor every time? I don't. I go see the doctors that have seen me before when I'm doing, general practitioner stuff. I want the guy to know that, yeah, his blood pressure typically is, 5-6 points over what it should be, but that's normal for him. And so, they get to know you, you get to know them, and you should do the same thing with your technician. All right, it is 7:46, means we got to get a break in. Let's do that. We'll come back, and then we'll finish it up for this edition of the Car and Truck Doctors, brought to you by Bumper to Bumper parts. 2 years, 24,000 miles, parts and labor, and 3 years or 36,000 miles if you use the Bumper to Bumper credit card, and then they'll take care of it. But if that part goes bad, they'll replace it up to 3 years from the moment that they install it. It's time for a break. We're going to do that here on the Dave Elswick Show on, of course, 101.1 The Answer.
Did you hear Congressman Bruce Westerman on the Dave Elswick Show?
Do you think that Senator Thune has been doing a good job over in the Senate? Has he been able to move along the legislation that the Republican Party and the president want to see moved?
He's getting some stuff done over there. He's got a lot of obstacles he has to deal with as well. I've got two bills in particular that I'd really like to see moved in the Senate, but they can't seem to find floor time. I met with a senator yesterday, and then a third bill coming up that I think will move. The president's behind it. There's huge bipartisan support for it. But you can still have with the rules of the Senate, you can have an individual senator hold a bill up just because they want to. Maybe they're negotiating for something else.
Don't miss Congressman Westerman, Wednesday mornings at 7:30 on the Dave Elswick Show, 101.1 The Answer. The news never stops, and neither does your schedule. That's why we're here, keeping you up to date with all the biggest stories of the day. We're 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. America is at a tipping point. To ensure we stay the land of the free and home of the brave, you need to be informed and engaged. That's why we're here. 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. The Car and Truck Doctor Show is back. Sponsored by Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts and these dealers. Weber Automotive in Conway and Total Tire and Automotive in Conway. Now, here's Dave Elswick on 101.1 The Answer.
All right, final segment on this edition on Thursday of the Car and Truck Doctors. Carter's here from Carter Radiator, which is downtown in Little Rock. And if you're close to the urban area, he probably would be a good choice to take your car. If you're up towards the Oyster Bar, you might want to go see, the folks over at Jets. They can take real good care of you as well. Our man here is the owner of it now. He bought it from the man who owned it for a long time. and he follows a lot of the things that he set up. He brought in a few new ideas, and I'll let you know. A lot of people go there.
Well said, Dave. I appreciate that. And I was going to say, if you are in the downtown area, midtown area, whatever, we would love it if you come see Daniel and I over, Carter's or Jets. We're, as far as the crow flies, we're probably only about a mile and a quarter away from each other.
Yeah.
Just pretty much on the other end of the Capitol View neighborhood there. But, yeah, I mean, we are, we are conveniently located in downtown if you work, at the hospitals or state or whatever you got going on. And we would love to help out.
Okay, so you guys were talking during the break. It's something that I've talked about often here on this show. And maybe you're not college material. And what I mean by that is maybe you don't do well in a college, type of work area. And but you want to make some decent money. Being a technician on cars now is not nickel and diming it, man. You make some good money if you're good at it.
So, Dave, you saying, yeah, we are college people. We're just bad at taking tests.
Yeah, some people are.
I mean, I am for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. Obviously, children nowadays, teenagers have to think about the world of AI that is coming on, and the reality that some jobs that are currently filled by people today in the next 10, 20 years are not going to exist anymore. And, as I was saying on the break, these vehicles become more and more sophisticated. Now, I do think that technology is going to help equip technicians, but I think it will be a long time coming before we find something to replace a technician that, hands-on experience level stuff, extracting fasteners, things that, because there's always a curveball involved. And although we may not have went to college, many of us have put years and years into training and study and continuing education. And of course, ultimately the school of hard knocks, like just doing it. I mean, once you've done about 40,000 water pumps, I think, you could probably do one, right?
With your eyes closed.
You're correct. In my sleep, sometimes I dream about doing them and wake up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go back in and do this again. So, I always talk to, teenagers. We run a youth camp, and one of my roles there is just to kind of talk about, future living. What is it that your future holds? Technical trades are something that right now we're in a massive shortage, I would say, of skilled labor. And, I'm not saying driving cars, I'm not saying sweeping the floors or, even some of the smaller stuff. But if you want to make good money, you can.
Yeah, if you want to work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the key.
Yeah. Well, and kind of like what Daniel was saying earlier, you talking about how technologically advanced these cars are getting and how fast it's there. We're probably, he thinks we're going to be seeing a lot of newer vehicles in salvage recycling yards for too long. And, and you say that's because, like, as a technician, we have to be so well versed in about everything that's going on in that car, whether it's, mechanical, electrical, whatever that might be.
Computer.
Yeah. So you've got, eventually we're going to be like doctors, in a sense, like, well, this is not my specialty. I got to move it to this guy, and we got to go, you got a infotainment issue. I just changed power steering pumps and stuff, so I can't do that. It sounds like it's kind of going to start. I don't know. Like to go fix some oil leaks and then turn around and try to diagnose a radio head unit.
There's probably not going to be one guy that does.
There's not. There is. I mean,
there are currently.
We're not all like you, Daniel, but no, I'm playing.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, there's just so many aspects of the vehicle these days. They're going to be harder to diagnose. And another thing, like you said, they making them so complicated. I remember reading a textbook when I was in 5th grade. I remember this because I was always into cars, and anything about a car in a textbook, I was the only thing I was laser focused on. But they said they were making cars less and less busy, intuitive. They're making them more streamlined on the interior, less buttons. Because it's just too many distractions. In 1989, here we are. We're talking about too many distractions. Now look at the cars today.
Oh yeah.
Are you kidding me? That statement was not true. That was just somebody's opinion about something they thought. And that could be further from the truth.
My wife's car. She went to Sam's the other day. She puts her car in reverse. Put their car in reverse. My wife's car saw reverse lights across the lane. There was no interaction. My wife was going to go first because the lady waved her on. Mm-hmm. Well, the lady still had her reverse lights on. The car literally would not allow her to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
it was afraid you'd be backing into them.
So, and my wife kind of got frustrated. She said, "That's ignorant. I was waved on. It was so safe that it made it to where I couldn't use the car." So she said she had to pull back forward, put it in park.
Yeah.
And then that lady's like, waving her on.
Go ahead.
Yeah. A common courtesy is about to turn into a road rage incident.
Yeah. And so finally my wife had to open her door and say like, "Hey, you've got to go. You didn't turn your reverse lights off. My car won't let me." I mean,
Yeah.
I read a story yesterday that I found very interesting. Pepsi are here in Arkansas, in Texas, and in Arizona are making all of their trucks autonomous, and they drive to wherever they got to go to be fixed and things of that nature. Sooner or later, that's going to happen for you guys.
Yeah,
cars are going to show up at your shop, and maybe they made an appointment for you guys to look at them, but it was the computer in the car that did it, and it won't let the people drive their car until they get it fixed.
Hopefully it gives me more information than some customers.
Yeah, I mean,
my car's broke. That's what I get. And you're like, what's broke? Like,
what's it not doing?
Then finally, after like a long conversation, you find out, it's not cooling on the passenger side. Okay, thank.
Yeah.
That helps me at least not spend a lot of time, test driving your car for 30 minutes trying to figure out.
That tells you probably have a blend door problem.
Yeah, or a low freon or something like that. Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought that was interesting because we've talked about autonomous vehicles before here on the show. And this is the whole trucking fleet for Pepsi are going to autonomous vehicles. I just made a statement yesterday as you're passing a Pepsi truck, look up in the cab, see if anybody's driving the truck. Because there might not be somebody driving the truck.
I'll tell you, that Super Cruise that GM has, I mean, I forget how many, I think it's over 1 million miles that they've driven with 0 accidents. I mean, it's pretty, it's got a bunch of cameras, and that's great as long as it's new.
Yeah.
My question is, what do we do in 10 years when those cameras start going offline and camera replacement's $1,400? Can the customer opt out and say, "Hey, I don't care," or does the vehicle lock down and say, "I'm not
going anywhere until you get this fixed.
Drive it. We're going to have the cameras working." I mean, and I don't think that's going to happen in the next 10, 20 years, but I do think that eventually we're going to get to a place that maybe that's a insurance safety regulation kind of thing.
All right. Something to think about. Guys, thanks for coming in today.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All
Thanks for having us.
We had Jets here. Give them your phone number again.
Got 501-664-4485, and that's 3101 West Markham. Excuse me.
Just down from the Oyster Bar.
Just go to the Oyster Bar and look around.
I almost said 2505.
Yeah.
Carter,
I'm at 501-374-6089. We are located at 2505 Wright Avenue.
Make a left on right.
That's
first place on the right.
Easy to find. All right. We'll be back in a moment. David will be with us, and we'll talk about part 2 of how do you roll over that 401k and put some of that money that's all invested in paper, invested into some, minerals like gold or silver. He'll talk to you about it when we get back here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Find us at 1011fmtheanswer.com. Download our apps, stream us 24/7, or watch us at snc.tv. KDXE, Kamek Village, Little Rock.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. Inflation at the wholesale level before it reaches consumers surged last month. Producer prices rose 6.5% from a year ago. Higher energy costs playing a big role in the increase, the largest yearly jump in more than 3.5 years. Iran's downing of a U.S. military helicopter earlier this week brings retaliation. American attacks on Iranian military targets, communications, radar, ground control stations. War Secretary Hegseth says President Trump's prime objective in all of this is close to being met.
Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, which they say they don't want. And so since we're so close to that negotiated deal, if that's the case, they should step up and do it.
President Trump providing some insight into how a lot of oil is moving through the Strait of Hormuz despite the Iranian threat.
Asked Wednesday about a report that rising gas prices had pushed consumer inflation to 4.2% in May, President Trump had a surprising response.
I love the inflation.
Suggesting prices would plunge back as soon as the Iran war ends, and then revealing,
we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Nobody knows it.
Secretary Pete Hegseth later telling reporters,
we've been protecting commercial shipping going through the Strait of Hormuz, as the president announced, to the tune of over 100 million barrels.
There was no immediate confirmation of that figure, which roughly equals 5 days of oil shipments before the war began. I'm Ben Thomas.
Knife attack in Belfast has triggered violent demonstrations in Northern Ireland. A Sudanese man is accused of attacking the victim, who was left partially blind. Police turned water cannons on protesters who set fires and attacked police. Wall Street Dow futures up 275 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 230. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What is dedication?
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is Darian. We call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's attention, affection, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
With your news flash, I'm Trey Westerberg, 101.1 The Answer. Receive your dental implants and new smile in as little as 1 day with Little Rock's dental implant specialist, Dr. Samuel F. Jurek, DDS. Schedule your consultation now at jurekdds.com. Google will pay $68 million to settle claims that Google Assistant recorded conversations without permission. Anyone who owned a Google Assistant device between 2016 and 2026 may qualify for compensation. Claims must be filed by August 27th. Authorities say 46-year-old Johnny Wayne Peaks, wanted by Faulkner County and U.S. Marshals on rape and first-degree sexual assault charges involving a juvenile, was arrested Tuesday at an RV park in Searcy. Officials say he was considered a sexually violent predator and had been on the run, prompting a multi-agency search. Texas teenager Carmelo Anthony has been sentenced to 35 years in prison for the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf during a high school track meet. A Collin County jury convicted Anthony of murder and rejected his claim of self-defense before handing down the sentence on Tuesday. I'm Trey Westerberg with your news flash on 101.1 The Answer.
With your sports flash, I'm John Thayer on 101.1 The Answer. Tonight, it's game number 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals as the Hurricanes play host to the Golden Knights. That series is tied up at 2 apiece. World Cup action is set to get underway today. The United States is scheduled to play tomorrow night at SoFi Stadium in California when they take on Paraguay. New York Knicks are 1 win away from an NBA title. They beat the Spurs last night 107-106 to take a 3-1 advantage. Kansas City Royals fell yesterday in 10 innings as they lost to the Rangers 6-4. The two teams combined for 24 hits. Royals now 28-40. The St. Louis Cardinals yesterday, winners over the Mets in New York 9-2. Cardinals improved to 37-28. Northside Power, your trusted name when the power goes out. Generators isn't something they do, it's all they do. Find out more at northsidepower.com. I'm John Thayer with your Sports Flash on 101.1 The Answer.
On Salem News Channel, principled voices are shaping today's conversation. Scott Jennings brings clarity to the toughest debates. Josh Hammer's blistering commentary puts politics and culture on trial. And Alex Marlowe's insight connects us to what matters most. Watch anytime on Samsung TV Plus, Pluto TV, or find us on your screen at snc.tv. 3 new shows, 1 powerful lineup. Salem News Channel, across America.
All right, into the second hour of the Dave Elswick Show for a Thursday, and we're going to shift our gears, get into a different topic. We thank the Bible, not the Bible guys, but the technicians from Jets and from over at Carter's for coming in and answering car questions today. Now we want to talk about your finances. And with us is, of course, David is with us at this time. He wants you to know it's not all that hard to go from a 401k where you got most of your money to moving and diversifying and putting some of that money into gold and silver. Good morning, David. Thanks for being part of the Dave Elswick Show. And this is chapter 2 of 4 weeks of learning how to move money from one savings account to a different one.
Yeah, and it's a very easy process. It's simple. We help a lot of people. Lots of people have been doing it, and they're benefiting by owning gold and silver. If they would have done this a couple of years ago, they'd be up significantly more than just having 100% of their money in stocks.
Yeah, you could have reaped a lot of benefits if you had bought gold. Let's just say, I'll do a decade. If it had been 10 years ago and you bought gold then, you would have seen a substantial increase in how much your gold was worth, and your silver, in fact, if you bought silver.
Well, I'll give you some quick numbers. Val, if just the Val, the producer for your show, Dave, if she can adjust. I'm getting my feedback, my voice back to me. About 3-4 seconds delayed, so it's kind of confusing. I've been through this before previous stations. I can keep talking, but she can work on that while I'm talking. So we just went back down to 2022. If you would have diversified in gold and silver, here's the numbers to the stock indexes. The Dow was up 40%, the S&P was up 4%, the NASDAQ was up 64%. Gold 106%.
Wow.
Silver 192%. So obviously gold and silver outperformed the major 3 U.S. stock indexes by a 3 to 1 margin. That's a very normal thing. We're going to get into this in the future at your shows. This is one of the 4-part series that gold and silver win a bull market as well as stocks in a bull market and stocks in a bull market. But gold and silver historically does outperform stock indexes by a 3 to 1 margin.
That's incredible. That really is incredible what you just told everybody. It may have been a shock to you when you heard those numbers and you suddenly realized how much you left on the table because you kept everything the way it was because you didn't want to hassle with it. You've got to keep on top of what's going on in the markets and then, react to that and make sure you're diversifying so you can take as much, credit out of, where your money is at. And, you can build it up a lot faster than you could have if you just had it in paper.
Diversification is a really key element. There's a scriptural principle that says a portion to 7, portion to 8. Because you do not know what tragedy may befall you. Dave, I don't know the future. You don't know the future. The people hearing my voice, none of us accurately 100% know the future. But what I do know is this, because I've been doing this for 2 years. I made a prediction on radio on multiple radio talk show hosts about 6 and 5 years ago. The same message. There's going to be a massive shift in our financial system. And the U.S. dollar is core of that. And it's going to come in question by the world that it's not the safest asset anymore. And they're going to choose gold. And that is what has happened. And I said, you will see the result of that with a rally in gold and silver that is unprecedented to the stock market. And you will see that show up. And sure enough, in 2022, that's when it all started. And that's when central banks started buying massive amounts of gold more than ever. We went from 250 tons a year to 1,000 tons a year, and they haven't stopped. It's like pedal to the metal. And so that's what's the driver of this. And that's why we're talking about the second part series of why now is it important to roll over a portion 401k or IRA into gold, because this is all happening because of dollarization. The world has chosen not to want to hold dollars. There's been a shift. And let me just get into that. What is first of all dollarization? Well, that is think of the tide. The tide comes in. And the tide goes out. That's a normal function of the world. Now let's put it in the monetary system. The tide being your money of the world into the safest investment, U.S. Treasuries. And for 40 years, the world has fallen in love with buying our debt. And during that period of time, we escalated our debt. Well, the tide also goes out. And in 2022, the dollarization going out of treasuries or going out of the dollar started to ramp up, and it's escalated since then, and they bought gold. And that's why we saw these numbers. But why have they done this? Well, here's the reason. In the last month, the United States government has spent just on the interest, the national debt, $8 billion. Back to 2002. And we're spending on the national debt interest payment a month, probably $3 or $4 trillion. In the last week, the government told U.S. Treasury debt $750 billion. That's in a week. It's insane spending. So the debt increased about every $5 trillion. Back in 2002, if we went that year, it took 15 years to $1 trillion prior to 2002. So it's escalating. The debt back then was $5 trillion. The budget deficit was $150 billion. Today, the budget deficit is $2.3 trillion, and the national debt is $39 trillion and ballooning. So if you and me and our wives, everybody hearing our voice, pretend for a second you're a central bank manager, and you understand this. This is what you do for a living. You know better than I do. And you see this trend, you're saying there's no way they're going to be able to pay this off. We're going on a crash course, and we got to move out of treasuries and buy gold. Well, what happened last year? Treasuries, you lost 5% by owning a treasury, the same investment in the world. Who would sign up for the safest investment in the world and have a guaranteed loss of 5%? Why did it lose 5%? Well, first of all, President Trump wants a lower dollar. But also the world is getting out of dollars, treasuries. So when you get out, we have a surplus, which causes the market to go down. And they're doing this because we can't get our debt in order. And that's why Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of the largest bank in the world, is saying we will have a treasury bond problem. It will be a crisis, he says. Jeffrey Gundlach, the bond king, there will be a treasury bond crisis. He's the king of all treasuries. It's one thing for me to say it. These guys are the experts on the inside, and that's why there's a shift. And the shift is just starting in this big bull market in gold and silver because the shitting out of dollars into gold is just starting.
All right. So here's the word of advice. If you didn't put money into gold before, and you missed the first march up for gold, be smart and don't miss the second markup for gold because it's a little bit over $5,000 an ounce now. You're not going to miss out on getting to 6,000, are you? I mean, that's what you've got to ask yourself if you're an investor, or are you going to buy silver and gold? And that way you're diversifying your buy. All right. For people who have 401ks, David, what's some information they need to have when they give you a call about wanting to get into, gold and silver?
Well, all they have to do is have a statement, and even if they don't have that, we can help the person. The most important thing is education, and they can call our company and learn about this, and not obligated to do anything. The most important thing a person needs to do is have just 10 minutes of time. Because in the 10 to 15 minute call, they can learn more about this than search the internet for hours and hours. We make the process simple. We answer their questions. We can help them understand it, and they will see the benefits of gold and silver. Jamie Dimon's pathway to $10,000 gold is an easy pathway. So gold actually today is around $4,000. It's pulled back a little bit. It's still in the bull market, and I have a lot of right now buying this pullback because they know that the financial system is not going to stop this massive spending, and the banks are not going to stop buying gold. In fact, the survey was just the first time in history central banks own more gold now than U.S. Treasuries. So call my company. Learn about it. It's not an obligated that you have to do anything, but there is this benefit that we're doing right now for the month of June. That if you learn about it, and if it's decided for you, that's their decision. They're going to benefit. I'm going to give free silver at the time the trade is done. So they'll personally talk with me, and I will help them benefit and get out of the gates. Jump start in the portfolio. They'll be in a great market gold and silver that more than likely will allow stock indexes for the next 5 to 10 years.
So don't delay is what you're saying. Don't say, well, I'll do it in a couple of months. In a couple of months, you're going to miss out on whatever, buy, gold has, driven itself up by, or silver, or even platinum. I mean, you might be wanting to buy the high end at metals. So how much money, if somebody doesn't have the $10,000 you're looking for, is it still smart for them to call you?
Well, they can make a contribution. And that would help get her close to that. First of all, if you have $10,000 or less, it doesn't mean that you can't benefit. We're saying that kind of a $10,000 threshold limit is more kind of like a teeter-totter where I think you'll benefit and you might not benefit. But if you would have put $10,000 in gold in 2022, or $5,000 in gold and silver in 2022. It didn't matter what the dollar amount. Everybody benefits. So I'm just coming up with that number. Most people have $10,000 in a 401k or IRA, and that's where the threshold is for the setup that we're actually benefit. If there was no big market movement in gold, but I think there's going to be a big market movement in gold because President Trump's talking about Knox again, and we'll make sure we talk about that here in the last few minutes.
All right, so let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll pick up that information that you just mentioned about President Trump and gold. We can also talk about, Iran and oil prices. A lot of people said when we started this fight with Iran that oil was going to go up to $300 a barrel. I think it's just over $80 a barrel right now on the world market. You can talk about that as well when we get back here on the Dave Elswick Show.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. The 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence is approaching quickly. The document, as I often point out to my listeners, is, to quote Abraham Lincoln, an apple of gold protected by the frame of silver that is the Constitution. He borrowed from Psalms there. All Americans, indeed all the free world, have a lot to celebrate in this, our 250th year of independence. The Declaration asserted the existence of rights of individuals that exist before any government, no matter the form of that government, comes into being. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The great day of the 4th is, from beginning to end, about love of our country, because our country defends our individual rights derived, back to the Declaration, from the laws of nature and nature's God. It is quite a gift that we have been given, a gift that needs to be defended.
If your business isn't on page one, you don't exist. Salem Media's SEO team changes that, and we change it fast. Do something and move up now. Call 501-404-6535 and get found. Call 501-404-6535.
Estate planning lawyer and CPA Bob Carlson has been called America's #1 retirement expert. Tens of thousands of American retirees trust his advice. But his latest bombshell sounds almost too good to be true. It's a way to boost Social Security income and collect more on every Social Security check and create a lifetime monthly income stream 100% tax-free. So today, Bob has made it his mission to give retirees and future retirees the full story in a free report. Log on now to retirementwatchreport.com to get yours. This retirement strategy is fully approved by the IRS, even though less than 1% of Americans know enough to use it. Nobel Prize-winning economist and MIT professor Robert Merton predicts this strategy will become one of the key ways to fund retirement in the future. Log on to retirementwatchreport.com to get your free report. That's retirementwatchreport.com. retirementwatchreport.com.
We bring you the biggest news stories of the day. Not to tell you what to think, but to allow you to have the most information so you can make up your mind. 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Now, back to the Dave Elswick Show. 101.1, The Answer.
8:23 on a Thursday, and we're talking to David today, David Fisher, about gold prices just keep going up and how to get moved from a 401k or an IRA or a Roth IRA or whatever kind of IRA you have, and how you can get some of that money moved over to, buying some precious metals. And by the way, David, if you buy precious metals and you're moving some of your, money that you saved in a 401k, are there any penalties for moving that money?
No, not at all. There's no tax liability, no penalty. Moving it from retirement plan to another, that's how the system works with the government and the IRS. All you're doing is shifting your money out of an asset, 100% paper, diversifying into a physical gold asset. And we help you do that, obviously, from start to finish, and hold your hand and do all the legwork for you and there's no tax liability. So you're just moving your money. You're not even spending your money. You're moving your money to a better investment based upon the government going to continue to spend and the world's going to move away from the dollar and buy gold. So it's just the biggest trend that's happened. Otherwise, we wouldn't see why treasuries are not held near as much as gold. So the big money of the world doing this, if they're doing it, and they're causing the market to go up, don't miss out on what big money is doing, and that's what's happening. And this trend is solidified for a long time.
All right, you mentioned before we left that President Trump had some things that he wanted to do. What are those things?
Yeah, he wants to back the currency by gold. I have the white paper on that golden era that has silver lining. He's back in again. He has this massive affinity for gold and for Knox. You know, he talked about it last year with Elon Musk. He talked about in the inauguration that the golden era. And I believe not just it was a literal figurative thing, but it was a literal thing. And he alluded many times about backing the currency by gold. Well, to do that, you got to figure out if the gold is there. And last year he talked about Fort Knox and Elon Musk. Well, on May 10th this year, he said this, quote, we want to go back and knock on the door of Fort Knox, a very thick door, to see whether or not there's any gold in there. They left gold in there because Fort Knox, they steal a lot. Wouldn't it be terrible if we opened it up and there was no gold there? So we're going to go open those doors. So why did he say that? Well, because again, I said this before, we're running out of time, that Germany sent over gold with German gold words on it, and they got some of their gold back, and it wasn't gold. It had English words on it. So we did something with their gold, and it escalated from there. May 28th this year, a government official, a former government CIA official, was arrested for stealing from the government $40 million in gold bars. Now, I don't know if he took him out of Fort Knox or not, but he also stole $2 million of U.S. 35 luxury watches while being Rolex. As a result of that, President Trump tweeted on social media on June 2nd, time to quickly audit Fort Knox. So they're going to do this. This means we're going to find out how much gold is in Fort Knox. We're going to probably find out how much silver is in West Point. And it's not there. You're going to rally silver and collapse dollar treasuries. If it is there, he's going to back it by gold. And that means he's going to run the price of gold. So either way, gold is the investment and silver you're going to want to own. Do this before he goes to Fort Knox, before the audit happens, before he revalues gold, big rally. Don't miss out on this. This is what he wants to do. It is fix to the financial system, and lots of people want to own treasuries because it's backed by gold.
Well, David, tell my listeners what they need to do to be able to do this. I mean, just contact you all and you'll walk them through it. What's the phone number?
844-604-2575. Again, the phone number 844-604-2575, or go to landmarkgold.com. That's landmark, M-A-R-K, gold.com. Simple as that.
All right. We appreciate you being with us this Thursday. We'll wait for chapter 3 next week when we'll have you back on the air here on the Dave Elswick Show. Have a great afternoon. Have a great rest of your week.
You too, my friend.
Talk to you later. All right. So that's some good information that you can use, because whichever way President Trump goes, gold's going to go up. The dollar's going to go down, gold's going to go up. And so you want to put your money where it's going to be worth more in the future than it is right now. And paper money is not the place to be. As David tell you, he wouldn't suggest that you put all your money in precious metals, but don't be foolish and not put money into precious metals. Again, landmarkgold.com is their website. It's one word, landmarkgold.com. All right, coming up in the next half hour, I'm going to do a little bit of a news drop with you. I'm going to talk about the Carmelo Anthony verdict that came down. The person who was found not, found him guilty, got 35 years in prison. And I want to talk about that. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of time and that we can force it in. Let's get to the news here on the Dave Elswick Show.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The U.S. has carried out another round of airstrikes on Iran. President Trump says more will follow if Tehran doesn't quickly sign a deal to end the war. Secretary of War Hegseth says Iran has been playing games with the U.S., and that stops as of now. U.S. missiles have rained down on multiple military-related sites in the Islamic Republic. Parts of the Midwest have been pummeled by powerful storms, disrupting flights yesterday at Chicago's airports and knocking out power to hundreds of thousands of utility customers. Forecasters say more unsettled weather could be on the way today. Quite a comeback. The New York Knicks came roaring back from 29 points down, moving to the brink of their first championship since 1973, beating the San Antonio Spurs 107-106, Game 4 of the NBA Finals, Game 5 on Saturday. This is SRN News.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-936-5496.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
What if you could take 101 The Answer with you everywhere? You can. Download the 101.1 The Answer app and stay connected to the voices you Wake up with Dave Elswick. Stay sharp with Doc Washburn. And hear from national voices like Chris DeGaulle, Scott Jennings, Hugh Hewitt, Larry Elder, and Mike Gallagher. Breaking news, bold opinions, local insight, national perspective, all in one place, all in your pocket, at work, in the car, on the go. If it matters to Arkansas and America, you'll hear it on 101.1 The Answer. Plus, stream us live anywhere. Catch up on podcasts and never miss a moment. Search 101.1 The Answer in your app store and download it today. 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. The Dave Elswick Show is back. 101.1 The Answer.
We're back with you, second half hour of our 9 o'clock hour. And we're going to talk about billboards. You see them all the time. I remember as a kid, I used to love riding down the road on vacation and read the Burma Shave ads that were on the little signs along the road. And the whole billboard industry has expanded over the last few years, and some thoughts of how to go about and why to buy billboards. I find, and with us is Peter Powers. He is part of Peter Powers Billboards. That's what he does. Are you down in Benton or Bryant?
Yeah, so our business is in Benton, but I live in Bryant.
How do you?
You have to excuse Dave.
Excuse me. That's bad news when you start, coughing like that and trying to do on the air. So, Peter, if somebody's thinking about getting billboards, I mean, billboards are a lot like radio. I mean, the more you can put up that the person or the drivers are going to see, the more impression you make in their mind.
That's right.
All right. So when somebody comes in to see you, or you go out to talk to somebody, what is it that you tell them that is unique about billboards?
Yeah, well, billboards really are, like you said, about brand recognition. If you're an insurance agency or you're an auto mechanic, when somebody needs insurance or needs an auto mechanic, you want them to think of you. And so it's all about points of contact and being in front of people, and people remember what they see over and over. And so when people come to me, first of all, I would talk to them about their demographic and who they're trying to reach. Is it just a broad campaign, or are they trying to be very specific and reach a specific demographic?
All right. You may have been down in the Benton Bryant area and you've seen a new billboard that has gone up that has a picture of Steve Marston on it. And then under Steve, there's a couple pictures of me and of Doc being on the answer, because we want you to remember where we're at. And that's why we're doing billboards here now for the radio station. What do you suggest to people that they should put on their billboards? Because I know some people put way too much information because the person's got to be able to get the point, in a short period of time. You're only going to be going past that billboard for a few moments. So is it better to do like you have two major points that you're trying to make with your billboard, or what?
Yeah. So with that, we're talking about interstate boards, something like that. If you have something with a captive audience, like in an airport, you can have a little more content. But if you're on an interstate, people are going 70, 80 miles an hour sometimes by that board, and you have, a couple seconds to grab their attention. So you want to use high contrasting colors. And you want no more, in my opinion, than 3 or 4 lines of content. And when I say that, it's the company name, maybe a phone number and a slogan or a tagline, something of that nature. You want to be right, concise, and to the point.
So, Peter, is it phone numbers you want to put up, or is it web addresses that you want to put up?
I would honestly say if you cannot be found quickly online, you should do that before you go on billboards. People need to be able to see your name and look you up.
Okay, so that's just the first mark. Do you offer services to clients about what to put on the billboard?
Yeah, if a client needs that. I work with a lot of national clients, so they actually provide the artwork and things of that nature. When I'm working with the local client, normally they will need somebody to help them craft a message. And I don't want to overstep the client. I mean, if somebody wants to put a whole book up there, I guess we'll do it, but I would recommend against it. So.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. You only have enough time to make a couple of valid points, and you want to know, or you want the person who sees your board, how they get to you, and take care of that, and then how they get a hold of you so they can access your services.
Right. Well, even on my own like self promo boards. On my self promos, I just have, like this billboard works, and then I have my logo. I don't even have contact information, because I know if people Google Powers billboard, it's going to show up. And so again, I think it's in tandem with a good online presence and possibly even social media campaigns and all of that. I would do it all at the same time. That way people are seeing you over and over and over.
Well, they're seeing you, they're hearing you, they're watching you on TV. If you could do television ads and all of that, that all, works together for a big return.
That's right. Yeah.
I tell people, don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you want to, run ads here, for instance, on 1011 The Answer, I'll tell you, you call Lynn Dyer, she's going to talk to you. She'll tell you what costs are, and then you decide to do it. We'll talk to you. If you want, for instance, me to talk about your business, I will sit down and talk to you, and I'll ask people to give me 3 PowerPoints that they want everybody to know about their business, because in a 30-second or a 60-second ad, that's about all the time I've got.
Yeah. Well, something interesting about that is with digital billboards, which I work with a lot of digital billboards, and that's opened it up to where you can have multiple ads run within your paid slot. So an ad on a digital billboard with 8 8-second spots shows 1,350 times a day. So you could send 3 or 4 artworks and have that kind of cycle through within your spot. And so you can get out different messages, but you want each of those messages to be concise.
So how are the billboards going that are on the screens that are along the sides of the highway? Are they finding that they're meeting the particular needs of your advertisers?
Yeah. And again, I work with a lot of national buyers. And so they are looking at an area saying, hey, we want to be in the Little Rock Metro, or we want to be Benton. I had somebody specifically ask for Benton Bryant area the other day. And so I say, hey, we have this board in front of Walmart on I-30. And I pitch my board, to them.
And that's seen very easily.
Yeah, that's the board you guys are on. So,
okay.
yeah. And so, yeah, it's meeting those needs. And then for local clients too, especially event-based things, you can send, like let's say you're an event facility and you're doing constant events, you can send me different artworks for each event and promote each event without having to have a vinyl go up and down and having the production cost and all of that. There's no production cost with this besides having your graphic created.
That's great.
Yeah.
That really works. I've been to some of your competitors and see how they do that. It's not easy to draft what you want on a billboard, and I'm sure that they and you yourself offer your expertise in billboards, and this one works, this not so much, and you can kind of show them what it is that works and doesn't work.
Yeah. And for like a restaurant, like a directional is a great thing, right? If it's like next exit, exit here, for the best barbecue in town or whatever, like that's a great kind of sign because you're using it as a directional. Yeah. And so I definitely like sitting down with clients and helping them craft their messages. And I want it to be effective for them too. I mean, I get a return client,
right?
And also it's all ROI, it's return on investment. And billboards can be a hefty investment. And so you want to see a return on that. So crafting your message, I think, is very, very important.
How long has it been that people have bought billboards? Let's say it's a car dealership. You want the best prices on, I won't even say Buick, because people who want to buy Buicks like myself have been buying Buicks forever.
Yeah.
But let's say we're talking about the new Tacoma or whatever. We have the 2026 Tacoma right here, and they've got an arrow pointing down from their billboard to their dealership, so that you see how long. I don't remember seeing those until just recently.
Like a directional like that, you're saying, like, right? Yeah. So a lot of times, with a product like that, they can only promote for the time that the product's in production, right? Because the next year you're going to come out the 27, then the 28.
Correct.
So those are probably year contracts on that, at least on that artwork. But I've had clients that have been up for 7-8 years, and again, with these nationals, it might be GM that's just promoting GM products. And so they might do a longer renewable contract with me.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And look, when you're talking to somebody like Peter, you want to pick their brain because they know a whole lot of substantive information you need to know about to make sure that your ad campaign is going to work.
Yeah. And I've been in the business a little over 10 years, billboards specifically. I've been in the advertising industry about 12 years, started out actually with magazines and got into billboards and specifically, again, digital. And I do manage a bunch of static boards as well, but digital is I really enjoy doing that. And I can program them from anywhere. I can be on vacation. I get on my phone, program the ad. It's up within a few seconds. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So you can, that's good because sometimes if you're in the car business, you want to change up the information as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah, we've had clients where like when they sell a vehicle, they just like text over the ad, hey, and so they have like a template and they put the customer with like the new car keys in it and they send it to us. And so as they're leaving the dealership, there's a billboard with their face, thanks for your purchase.
That's cool.
So there's stuff you can do like that, that you can't do with traditional media.
All right. Peter Powers is our guest. We'll be back with more of our interview with him. It's 8:45 here on the Dave Elswick Show.
If things don't change, can you imagine America in 20 years? Scary thought, isn't it? The good news is we have the power to take our nation back. Stay right here for all the information you need. 101.1, The Answer.
Advantage Gold, America's #1 precious metals company, is sounding the alarm that a storm is coming and that now is the time to diversify your portfolio before it's too late. That's why we're offering an emergency gold and silver protection kit valued at $49, absolutely free for anyone who calls today at 800-900-8000. This kit includes critical information for investors with a retirement account seeking to own physical gold and silver, but want to do it tax and penalty free. Advantage Gold has helped investors protect and secure their wealth with physical gold and silver since 2014. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 and we'll rush your emergency gold and silver kit plus a free copy of Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. See how gold and silver can help you protect and secure your wealth with the help of Advantage Gold. Results vary. Consult your tax advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
President Trump has triggered a $200 billion tech disruption, and Wall Street is asleep at the switch. This $200 billion investment in chip technology could make today's artificial intelligence chips obsolete. Technology that will make today's AI data centers a thing of the past, like IBM's old mainframes. While most investors are focused on old-fashioned AI, there are 3 companies quietly building a $1 trillion triangle that could transform every tech sector on Earth. These 3 companies are gearing up to develop and manufacture supercomputers the size of a dinner plate. Institutions like Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street are pouring more than $200 billion into this AI revolution. Investment guru George Gilder has been predicting tech revolutions for more than 40 years, including the iPhone, Netflix, and Amazon. Now he's got his finger on 3 companies whose technology will change tech forever. Log on to $1,000,000,triangle.com to find out which 3 companies are working on what could be the biggest tech disruption since the internet. $1,000,000,triangle.com. That's $1,000,000,triangle.com.
There's a real battle going on, not only for our future, but that of our children and grandchildren. How do we ensure they have it better than we do? One way is to keep listening to us. Information source in the battle. 101.1, The Answer. The conservative voice of Arkansas. Dave Elswick Show. 101.1, The Answer.
Yeah, Peter Powers is with us, and Peter Powers Billboards. Peter, you've only been in Arkansas for a short period of time. You came from where?
From Idaho.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you should know some about that as you've listened to the show. And we talked a lot about that guy that killed those kids up in Idaho.
Yeah. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, it really was. But you were talking, you made the statement on the billboards that are electronic, you get what yours go up for 8 seconds. Is that what it was?
Yeah, there's 8-second spots is how it runs. And so an advertiser's ad will show 1,350 times per day. And you can have multiple artworks within that. So if you gave me 2 artworks, each artwork would show 675 times a day.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good because frequency is very important when you're talking advertising. Right. You want people to see you all the time. It's for like, the people that have been on my show for, nearly 20 years and doing their ads like PI Roofing. And, by being on the show and people hearing them day after day after day after day, that kind of frequency makes you like the person in that industry.
Yeah, and I think it builds trust as well. Being in front of people over and over and over, it shows consistency, and it develops trust over time. So,
all right. So, how did you get into billboards? I mean, that's I gotta ask that question.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I wasn't looking to get into billboards. I actually published a faith-based magazine in my hometown, and we were trying to build a park next to a church. Church had an acre or two, and it was an underserved community. And so we said, hey, let's put our heads together and build a park for this community. It was like a couple square miles where there was no playground for kids.
Oh, wow.
And so we went out to raise money and do that. And it was next to a major interstate. And I said, you know what, if we can get a billboard on this property, that might be able to help fund our efforts here and fund the maintenance of the park. And so I got in touch with some guys through some contacts that were starting a billboard company. And we sat down, and unfortunately we didn't get a billboard built there, but they saw my magazine and they said, hey, who sold all these ads? And I said, well, I did. I published a magazine.
Why don't you come work for us?
That's exactly what happened. And so I got into the industry with them. And then helped. And it's funny because those 2 guys owned the business and they're no longer in it. And they brought an investor in who now owns the business. But
well, that's the way that works. If you're building a business, you may build it where it's as big as it's ever going to get. And somebody else may want to buy it from you.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're hoping that will happen. When you're in a business, is that you're going to reap the rewards of having that business.
Yeah. Unless you want a job forever.
Yeah. I kind of been in that position, but I don't want to be working in the next year and a half.
Yeah.
I'm on to retire when I'm 75.
I don't know if your listeners are like that. They're gonna miss you.
Yeah. People have always, don't stop now, and they're like in their 40s, and they've only become a fan here in the last, 5 years.
But they can go back and listen to previous shows, right?
Oh, yeah. You can. I've got a track record that you can follow back for 26 years because that's how long I've been here in this area.
Yeah.
So I love Arkansas. I enjoy it here. I bet you I'd enjoy it up in Idaho as well.
I'll tell you this. I'm not used to bugs, and I'm still getting used to it because we do not have bugs in Idaho like this at all.
Really?
Oh, not at all.
No mosquitoes?
There's some mosquitoes, but you just spray a little cheap bug spray on you and you're fine. But we don't have ticks, chiggers, none of that stuff.
You're lucky. You just named 2 insects that people, I'm sure, hate here in the state of Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
That's like going, if you live in North Dakota, which I did for a year and a half, the mosquitoes, it's the state bird.
Yeah.
They're big. You can literally feel them land on you.
Well, that's what people told me when I moved here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we got a lot of mosquitoes here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of standing water, brackish water.
Yeah.
And that's especially what mosquitoes like. If you got tires on your land or whatever, and there's water in them, dump that water out, let them dry out, and, take away breeding grounds for mosquitoes. That is the insect that kills more people in the world than any other insect.
Wow.
Because they carry so many diseases.
Yeah. My family asked me, how you liking the humidity?
Oh.
And I said, I can bear that. I just don't know if I can bear the bugs.
Yeah. They're out there big time. They really are. Yeah. All right. So we're glad that you came here to Arkansas. are you basically a regional guy? You're right around this central Arkansas area, or do you work all the different areas in Arkansas?
Yeah, I mean, anybody in business normally would be looking to expand their network. I run 11 digital faces and 135 statics out in California remotely. And now I live here in Arkansas, so we're starting to build out here in Arkansas. When I say build out, I manage billboards for private owners. And so if somebody has a billboard and their revenue's been low and they don't know how to reach out to nationals or things like that or create new revenue streams, I would come in and actually help them manage their board. I'm looking for premium placements also for advertisers. So I think it's a win-win because not only can I help an owner create revenue on their board, I'm also helping these advertisers find premium locations as well.
Yeah, so people buy, advertising on their billboards. You want to make sure your billboards are in the right place.
Yes.
To get the most views. So is that,
well, and I think that every billboard has a customer. It's the right place for somebody. It's being able to link those two people up. You might have a billboard in the middle of nowhere, right? But then find somebody who does like excavation for septic systems. That might be the perfect area for them. Things to that nature. So it's connecting the buyer and the provider.
Yeah, when you got a place that maybe people are going to live rurally, not urban type situation, you might want somebody to put a septic system in for you because you're going to need one because you probably don't have, you don't have, trash collection. Maybe you don't have, the whole thing about you want to get to, you got to be able to go to the bathroom,
right,
and go so that you don't poison the land.
Yeah.
So you'll need somebody to help take care of that for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like how you work with the people who own the billboards to make them more, inviting to the people who are looking at those billboards.
I think a lot of like private investors that build, especially digital billboards and things to that nature, they may not understand the billboard industry as a whole. They know that, hey, I got some land next to a highway, I'm going to build a board. And they think by throwing a phone number up, it's just going to magically materialize income. And that's not necessarily the case. And so I think understanding the industry, working with national and regional buyers, and other things like programmatic, which you guys are familiar with in the radio, programmatic revenue. And so I know how to open boards up to all of those streams of income.
The bottom line is frequency.
Yes.
That's why when I go out to talk to people, they say, how much does it cost, Dave, to advertise on your show? And I said, well, let's talk about that. I don't want to, sell you on my show and you just run ads for 2 weeks and you think that you're going to bump your business up big time. I'm going to tell you that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
You've got to be up there. I tell, advertisers, you need to give it at least 3 months.
That's exactly what I say. Unless it's an event that's like coming up this weekend and they just need to get something up real quick to promote the event, I would always tell a business or organization, you should give it at least 3 months to start seeing a return.
Yeah, and then maybe you want to come down and come back in 3 months.
Right.
After you've been on a certain billboard for a long time, people get used to seeing that billboard and they don't pay attention to it anymore.
Well, that's why I think too with digital, and I'm not trying to oversell it, but you can change your artwork. And so instead of having to pay for that production cost of getting up there with the vinyl to change artwork, you can just send me new art and say, hey, that last ad wasn't producing what we want. We want to try something different. And it's 5 minutes and it's switched out.
How much of a hassle is it to put the vinyl up? I mean, I've seen guys putting billboards up. Looks pretty labor intensive to me.
I am 6'4" and I'm afraid of heights. So it doesn't make sense, but I would not want to go up there and do it. So I give those guys credit that do it. But yeah, there's a production and lead time. So if you wanted to switch your art out, it might be 3 weeks before we can get that new art up. Right. Whereas a digital is almost instantaneous.
That's very cool. I mean, who came up with who was the purveyor of digital art?
I wouldn't know. I mean, the big player in the industry is probably Watchfire. They're the biggest. I don't know who started it, but they're probably the biggest manufacturer.
And look, it takes time to come up with the right artwork and get stuff that will. Our goal is to get, we call it, drive you to a state of action.
Right.
We want you to react to what we're showing or talking to you about on the air, and you're showing on your billboards. We want you to pick up the phone and call that advertiser.
Yeah. Yeah. Or at least Google them.
Yeah.
And so, well, a good, so I would put the ad on a screen and then I would back up 10 feet and like a computer screen, put your ad there, back up 10 feet and look at it. And if you can't clearly see the text on it, you need to redo your ad.
All right. Quickly. This is Mr. Powers. He's part of Powers Billboards. Where do people find you? Where do they call you?
They can go to powersbillboards.com and all of my contact info is right there.
All right. Thank you for coming in today.
I appreciate it very much.
I got news right now here on the Dave Elswick Show.